Coast Radio. Durban's number one.
Look forward to Pretoria though, because we're not going there.
We'll be looking forward to walking out there and the noise that the crowd makes, and I can probably speak for all three of us because there is nothing like it. The noise the crowd makes when you walk out there is just
But only in South Africa.
Yes, you know exactly right.
And actually, you know, everybody wants to say Durban's better than Joburg or Cape Town. Truth be told, the three loudest places we've ever been in terms of crowds are Durban, Joburg and Cape Town. It's unbelievable how much louder it is than anywhere else. Yeah. That's why all the new shows get launched in South Africa, all the new ideas get tried in South Africa, everything is launched in South Africa, because the three of us like coming here more than we like going anywhere else in the world.
Fantastic. This is now your third trip?
A lot more than that. I did a calculation the other day as to which foreign city I've been to more than any other, and it's not Paris or New York, it's actually Joburg. Yeah. So no, we'd come here all the time.
Yep. All right, apart from the loud audiences, what is it about the people or the place of Durban which you find sort of, I don't mean jarring, just different, so completely different to anywhere else?
I think it's that they're it always sounds a bit sort of patronising and condescending when you generalise about the whole nation, but the audiences in South Africa, and actually all the people we meet when we go out, because we go to restaurants or whatever, they don't have any sort of hang-ups. They're just sort of.
It's because they want to have a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
So people, if you're going out for a meal, if you're walking down the street, if you're coming here to see this show, people want to have a good time, and they're not going to spoil it by being cynical or trying to hold back. If part of that good time is by throwing yourself into it wholeheartedly, then they do.
It's the opposite of another country
to go out to do stuff.
Mentioned.
It's the opposite of Britain.
Yes, it is.
Because I tweeted on the way out here. I sent a picture of, say, there's two morons on the aeroplane, and sent a photograph of these two. Yeah. And thousands and thousands of replies, and they all said the same. It's all right for some in first class. Well, of course we're flying first class. It's not a South African thing, that bitterness and awfulness and miserable, tight 1950s black and white rationing Britain that still exists and drives me up the wall. It doesn't make any difference to them whether we're flying first class or not. It's not their money, so it doesn't.
And they're not coming either.
Exactly. And it isn't their money because it's not from the licence fee.
Talking cars, there is a big culture. I don't know if you've noticed that you need to get out into the outskirts of Durban. You'll notice that we do have a big culture of pimping cars.
Well, it's an Indian thing, isn't it? I mean, there's a huge Indian population here, and
they love it.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. There's an area of London which you drive through when you go through Hounslow or up the A40, up through past Southall. Every car is suddenly 6 inches lower than everything you've seen before or everything you see afterwards.
It's like the roads are suddenly empty, but it's actually because you just need to tilt your head down to look at all the cars that have been slammed.
So that said, you've modified yourselves many cars, many vehicles, many forms of transport. What was the random one that you saw somebody else did that you spotted and went, oh my goodness, what the hell is that?
Bear in mind, we have only ever ruined everything we've tried to modify.
We haven't done it very well, but I saw the other day, and I was very uplifted by it. There was a lad, and he can't have been more than 18, and I guess he didn't have a huge amount of money to spend on cars, because some of those people don't, but he'd slammed and pimped a Toyota Prius, and I thought it looked great. It had massive but quite old-fashioned alloys on, big dished ones, and it had stripes.
I'll take your pimped Prius and raise it. In London the other day I was following a Renault Clio, and it was electric blue, metal flake blue, 2 big white stripes on it, massive exhausts like Matrix Churchill superguns. Slammed, big white alloys. Pulled up alongside. The man driving it was 70.
Yeah, that's
tweed jacket, trilby hat. And he looked so pleased with himself. I was staggered. I just thought, that's the best thing I've ever seen.
He borrowed his kid's car.
No, he hadn't. It was so obviously his if you saw it.
Right, now here's a question which a lot of young pimply people will want to know, and I've watched so many of your episodes and I've never found one that's answered this question. Which is the best car to have sex in?
At our age?
Well, I'd say it was probably an ambulance.
You've got everything you need to have.
Exactly.
When I was 18...
Clear, boom, right, you can carry on.
When I was 18, it was a Rover SD1, because that's what my dad had, and that was what I was allowed to drive.
What you mean? Oh, whoa.
Don't worry, I was going to go there as well, but leave it.
Are you suggesting that somewhere on Earth there is a Rover SD1 with your bodily fluids still in it?
Well, I don't know if it still survives, but if it does, then maybe. Yours was a Volvo estate. I know
it was, yes,
you told me.
It was a Volvo. My dad had a Volvo estate, which was used, but I was 18.
I'm guessing a car that isn't somewhere very public, probably that isn't moving, and that has somebody else in it with you apart from
Yourself.
yourself. What?
Land Rover in Wales.
He's going to say a Land Rover in Wales, aren't you?
I think it's
And that's
interesting.
a good point.
People have asked me that question before, but I think when you talk about having sex in cars, you're really talking about being a teenager. Because when you're an adult, you've got a house or a garden or whatever. But actually, if you think about it, when you are 17, say, the desire for copulation is so overwhelming that the car is really pretty irrelevant. You don't
At
sort of
17,
think,
you could probably manage it on a moving bicycle. So
Yeah.
any car.
you're not going to think, well, I'd love to, but it's only a 4-cylinder. I mean, that doesn't matter
Yeah.
when you're that age. So a car is just a place.
17's never going to say, I'd love to, but not with those mags.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or, but it's a diesel. It doesn't matter. You know. It does when you're our age. We get very fussy about who we
Well,
have
no,
sex
you've
in
got a
cars
lot of
with.
female watchers now. You have a lot of fans,
Show always
female
has
fans
had.
of Top Gear, and I think you've tainted them. They would say something like that. A gentleman would say, a young boy would say to a young girl, "Oh, shall we?" And she would say, "Well, how many kilowatts are in this, and we can talk."
We don't use
But I mean,
kilowatts
that's-
in Britain. We have
you know-
BHP. Yeah.
Oh,
We're
yes.
quite
But I know
old-fashioned.
what you meant. No. You see, I know, because it's a car, if you're talking in terms of 17-year-old, it's how much money you've got. So it doesn't really matter what it is, it's just whether it looks like it cost a lot and therefore you're going to get a better dinner. I've forgotten what it's like to be a teenager.
Social observations.
Well,
Also-
teenagers, I don't understand teenagers.
It's quite different because I mean, Hammond's still only 36, but Jeremy and I are now in our 50s. But when we were teenagers and we lived in this quite
Everything
close to
was
each
in
other,
black and white.
Everything was in black and white. Everything had coal dust on it. But also the idea of actually having a car to use, let alone own.
Let alone sex.
Yeah.
Was just.
I mean,
none of
sex
these
was a
things
long,
are
sex
really
was a long way
important.
down.
'Cause
You
I
know,
used-
your list. It was. I've got a car. I might even have a pound for some petrol.
I used to be very good looking.
No, you didn't.
I used
No,
to be
you're
very
right,
tall.
that's it. No, I did, but that's what it was. That was my big. It wasn't my Ford Cortina 1600E. It was the fact that I looked like a telegraph pole that had eaten a space hopper. That was the biggest problem.
I know that description.
I just thought of
Very
it.
good.
All right, now to wrap up,
The answer, by the way, is a Citroen.
it is a Citroen because of the suspension.
Yeah.
in it, yes.
You can make it go up and down.
It saves a bit of
If you're
bother.
struggling
you
with
put-
Actually,
that little
my
lever-
dad had a BMW 733i latterly.
Well, you were posh.
We were, and it had an electric seat that just moved back and forth. The laziest way of
That's a good idea.
you just sit there with just two fingers on the button. You don't have to do
I'd
anything.
advise against anything other than my mum's blue Volvo 340 that I got stuck in a field and pretty much had to carry out following a similar sort of exercise. Yeah. Let's not go back to any of those.
I'm going to go with the Citroen.
Yeah, I think it's probably right.
James is probably right. It's a
yeah.
Citroen.
One of those New York cars that
kinetic
keep
energy.
rocking for ages once you've stopped it. That'd be quite good.
Well, I really didn't think this question would go that in
Did
depth.
you?
I was.
Did
Oh,
hoping
no,
for a
we
one-
said
That's a very
That's the
good
other
point,
day.
though, because as a 17-year-old boy, you'd have got to the end too quickly, so you need a little bit of residual. So
know,
maybe
it only needs a couple of
diesel.
pounds.
What we said the other day, and I think this is very true, is that because we spend so much time together, every little thing, no matter how trivial it is, this Coke can, we have to discuss for 9 hours. Or we run out of things to talk about. So the tiniest things can occupy. What occupied us in Spain for
I don't know,
about a
but
year?
we did spin it out for a good day or two. We can now talk about what it was that we talked about, and we could make that last another 2 days, so that we're not left with an awkward silence.
It's very true. Jeremy and I obviously spent a long time together driving to the North Pole, but I mean, we don't have very much in common, obviously. It's what fuels our creativity. But by the end of it, we were discussing sandwich fillings, and that
Yeah.
probably 3 days on
Yeah.
sandwich fillings. And it was
You'd drive
interesting.
and then you'd say, ham with some Branston pickle.
Or should that be old-fashioned in-a-jar German mustard? Now, there, you're off. That's a PhD when you're stuck with him in the
Yes.
middle
He's
of the
telling us to
wilderness.
stop talking.
Oh, we're going to wrap this up. All right, we're going to do
Okay.
this one. Richard has already done this for us. You remember telephonically? You
Oh,
set,
yeah,
you
yeah,
set
I
a
do, yeah,
fantastic
yeah.
time. We've set up in our studio a Top Gear makeshift leaderboard, of which you're still on top, with a Foster's time saying this tongue twister. It's your standard Peter Piper, Peter Pickle, Pickled Peppers.
I might have had a couple of glasses of
I've
wine.
had a few.
So you delivered your excuse.
Peter Piper, Peter Pickle, pickled pepper, Peter Piper.
But I have it for you,
Peter
there you
Piper,
go.
Peter
I can
Piper,
remember.
Peter
I
I
didn't
can
have it
remember
written
as a kid.
down.
I haven't got my glasses on.
Oh God!
Okay, well,
What
Is
the
it
rec-
Peter
what is
Piper,
the top-
Peter
what is
Piper,
the best
Pickle
time?
Pepper, Peter Piper, Peter Piper, Pickle Pepper, where's the Piper, Pickle Pepper?
How many times have you got to say it?
There we go. Just once.
That's pretty quick. Peter Piper, Peter Piper,
I
Pickle
know,
Pepper,
okay.
Peter Piper, Peter Piper,
just
Pickle
thinking
Pepper,
of-
where's the Piper, Pickle Pepper, Peter Piper, Picked.
Oh, have you got to do the whole thing?
Yes.
Fucking quick. Red lorry, yellow lorry.
Peter
Yeah.
Piper,
Better
picked,
when I'm
pickle
drunk.
peppers, Peter
See-
Peppers, Peter Piper picked, Peter Piper picked, peppers.
No,
Where's
you're
the
just
Peter
talking
Pepper,
dribble.
Peter Piper picked? There it is.
Should we give him another go?
Yeah, have another
Go on,
round.
I haven't got my glasses
More faster
either.
than you.
Yeah, I think that was.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Captain Slow.
A peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked.
Have another glass of wine, James.
If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Where's
Where's
the
the peck of pickled peppers?
All right, seeing as you're improvising, then what you can do,
Am I the
Jeremy, is you can
fastest?
go. Some say
Some
Peter
say.
Piper picked a pickle pepper.
Some say Peter Piper, Peter Piper, Peter Piper, Peter Piper,
Bollocks.
Peter Piper, Pickle Pepper, where's the Pickle Pepper?
East Coast Radio. Durban.